Did you ever wonder how deep grief can touch us all? Have celebrity deaths ever made you cry? Number 15. Paul Walker's Fast family honors their brother. When Paul Walker died tragically in a car crash in November 2013, the world stood still for fans of the Fast and Furious franchise. His co-star Vin Diesel, who shared the screen with Walker for over a decade, was devastated beyond words. Their brotherhood transcended the silver screen, creating a bond that even death couldn't sever. Vin Diesel's tribute to Walker remains one of the most heartfelt responses to a celebrity death in recent memory. "Brother, I will miss you very much," Diesel wrote on social media, his words carrying the weight of genuine loss. In the years following Walker's passing, Diesel has continued to honor his friend's memory, even naming his daughter Pauline after Walker. The entire Fast family, as the cast calls themselves, rallied together in their grief. Tyrese Gibson was photographed in tears at the crash site, later sharing an emotional post. "My heart is hurting so bad no one can make me believe this is real." Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson spoke of Walker's positivity and compassion, calling him a beautiful man, father, and friend. What made these tributes so powerful was their authenticity. These weren't polished PR statements but raw expressions of grief from people who had lost someone they truly cared about. The franchise's films now include touching nods to Walker's character Brian O'Connor, with Furious 7 featuring a particularly moving tribute that left audiences worldwide in tears. Walker's daughter Meadow, who was only 15 when she lost her father, has since established the Paul Walker Foundation to continue his charitable legacy. The foundation focuses on ocean conservation, reflecting Walker's passion for marine biology. Through this work, both his Fast family and his real family ensure that his spirit lives on, not just as an action star, but as a man who cared deeply about making the world better. Number 14. Robin Williams' death unites generations in grief. How could someone who made us laugh so much be suffering so deeply? Robin Williams' suicide in August 2014 shocked the world, leaving fans across multiple generations mourning the loss of an extraordinary talent. One of the most poignant tributes came from his Good Will Hunting co-star Matt Damon, who said, "Robin brought so much joy into my life and I will carry that joy with me forever. He was such a beautiful man." Ben Affleck joined in the sentiment, writing, "He made Matt and my dreams come true. What do you owe a guy who does that? Everything." Williams' Mrs. Doubtfire co-star Sally Field expressed what many felt. "He always lit up when he was able to make people laugh, and he made them laugh his whole life long, tirelessly. He was one of a kind." His longtime friend Billy Crystal kept his tribute simple yet powerful during the Emmy Awards. "Robin Williams, what a concept." Perhaps what made Williams' death particularly painful was that his work had touched so many different people. From children who knew him as the genie in Aladdin to adults who cherished his dramatic roles in films like Dead Poets Society, the grief crossed generational lines. His daughter Zelda Williams shared a quote from Antoine de Saint-Exupéry's The Little Prince on Twitter. You alone will have the stars as no one else has them. In one of the stars I shall be living. In one of them I shall be laughing. And so it will be as if all the stars were laughing when you look at the sky at night." President Barack Obama's tribute captured Williams' broad impact. He arrived in our lives as an alien, but he ended up touching every element of the human spirit. These words recognized how Williams' work explored the full range of human emotion, from hilarious comedy to profound drama, making his loss feel intensely personal to millions who never met him. Number 13. Amy Winehouse, the tributes that came too soon. Was Amy Winehouse's death at 27 preventable? Did we as a society fail her? When Amy Winehouse joined the 27 Club in July 2011, the music world lost a singular voice that had revolutionized soul music for a new generation. Her death from alcohol poisoning came after years of public struggles with addiction, making her loss both shocking and, sadly, not entirely unexpected. Adele, whose career was just beginning to soar as Winehouse's was cut short, credited the Back to Black singer with paving the way. "Amy paved the way for artists like me and made people excited about British music again. I don't think she ever realized just how brilliant she was and how important she is. This tribute highlighted not just Winehouse's personal impact on fellow musicians, but her cultural significance in revitalizing British soul music. Lady Gaga reflected on the complicated relationship between celebrities, their fans, and the media. "I was a fan of Amy's and I am still a fan. I'm so devastated and so sad, and I didn't know her, but I loved her so much." Her words touched on the strange intimacy fans feel with artists whose music touches them deeply, creating a sense of connection despite never meeting. Mark Ronson, who produced Winehouse's breakthrough album Back to Black, shared his devastation. "She was my musical soulmate and like a sister to me. This is one of the saddest days of my life." Their creative partnership had resulted in one of the most acclaimed albums of the 2000s, making his grief particularly profound. What made tributes to Winehouse especially poignant was the sense that the world had watched her decline without being able to help. Russell Brand, himself a recovering addict, wrote a particularly moving piece about addiction and society's fascination with self-destructive artists. "We have lost a beautiful, talented woman to this disease, and we need to review the way society treats addicts, not as criminals but as sick people in need of care." The Amy Winehouse Foundation, established by her family after her death, now works to prevent alcohol and drug misuse by young people and to support those already struggling with addiction, ensuring that something positive emerged from the tragedy of her untimely death. Number 12. Kobe Bryant, when sports icons leave too soon. Can a basketball player really mean so much to so many? Does tragedy transcend sports rivalries? When Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gianna, and 7 others died in a helicopter crash in January 2020, the shockwaves extended far beyond the basketball world. Bryant's former teammate Shaquille O'Neal, despite their well-documented feuds during their playing days, was devastated. "There are no words to express the pain I'm going through now with this tragic and sad moment of losing my niece Jiggy and my friend, my brother, my partner in winning championships, my dude and my homie." Michael Jordan, often considered Bryant's basketball idol and with whom Bryant was frequently compared, released an emotional statement. "I am in shock over the tragic news of Kobe's and Gianna's passing. Words can't describe the pain I'm feeling. I loved Kobe, he was like a little brother to me." For fans, seeing Jordan, often portrayed as stoically competitive, express such raw emotion underscored the magnitude of the loss. LeBron James, who had just passed Bryant on the NBA's all-time scoring list the night before the crash, promised to continue Bryant's legacy. "I promise you I'll continue your legacy, man. You mean so much to us all here, especially Laker Nation, and it's my responsibility to put this on my back and keep it going." His tearful tribute before the Lakers' first game after Bryant's death created one of the most emotional moments in sports history. Bryant's impact extended beyond basketball, with tributes coming from figures ranging from former President Barack Obama to musical artists like Drake and Kanye West. At the 2020 Grammy Awards, held the same day as the crash at the Staples Center where Bryant played for 20 years, host Alicia Keys led an impromptu tribute with Boys the Second Men, singing "It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday." The phrase Mamba mentality, referring to Bryant's relentless work ethic and competitive spirit, has since become a mantra for athletes and non-athletes alike, ensuring his philosophical approach to excellence lives on. Murals appeared across Los Angeles and around the world, with fans creating makeshift memorials everywhere from the Staples Center to basketball courts in the Philippines, demonstrating how his influence transcended cultural and geographical boundaries. Number 11. Heath Ledger, tributes to a star who never saw his greatest role. What happens when an actor gives the performance of a lifetime but isn't alive to see the acclaim? How do you honor someone who left at the height of their powers? Heath Ledger's death from an accidental prescription drug overdose in January 2008 shocked Hollywood. At just 28 years old, the Australian actor had already established himself as one of the most talented performers of his generation, with his portrayal of the Joker in The Dark Knight set to become his defining role. Christopher Nolan, who directed Ledger in The Dark Knight, remembered him as someone with charisma who was bursting with creativity. "Heath was burning bright," Nolan said, "and I will never forget the excitement I felt when we first started working together." This tribute highlighted not just Ledger's talent, but the sense of lost potential that made his death particularly tragic. Jake Gyllenhaal, who starred alongside Ledger in Brokeback Mountain, reflected on their friendship. "I think that the movie was an opportunity to be around someone who was extraordinary and ordinary at the same time, which is what made Heath so special." This duality, the extraordinary talent combined with a grounded personality, came up repeatedly in tributes to Ledger. The posthumous Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor that Ledger won for his role as the Joker created one of the most emotional moments in Oscar history. His family accepted the award on his behalf, with his father Kim saying, "This award tonight would have humbly validated Heath's quiet determination to be truly accepted by you all here, his peers, within an industry he so loved." Michelle Williams, Ledger's former partner and mother of his daughter Matilda, rarely speaks publicly about his death, but in 2018 told Vanity Fair about explaining his death to their daughter. "I always say to Matilda, your dad loved me before anybody thought I was talented or pretty or had nice clothes." This simple, human remembrance cut through the mythology that often surrounds celebrities after death, reminding the world of the real person behind the performances. Ledger's legacy lives on not just through his work but through the Heath Ledger Scholarship, established by his family to help emerging Australian actors pursue international careers, ensuring that his influence continues to be felt in the acting world. Number 10. Chadwick Boseman, marvel of strength even in illness. How could someone battle cancer while filming physically demanding roles? What does true strength look like? When Chadwick Boseman died of colon cancer in August 2020, the world was stunned to learn he had been diagnosed in 2016 and had filmed several movies including Black Panther while undergoing treatment. His Black Panther co-star Michael B. Jordan wrote a moving tribute, "I'm dedicating the rest of my days to live the way you did, with grace, courage, and no regrets. Is this your king? Yes, he is." Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige released a statement highlighting Boseman's importance beyond his acting. Each time he stepped on set, he radiated charisma and joy, and each time he appeared on screen, he created something truly indelible. Now he takes his place alongside them as an icon for the ages. These words acknowledged how Boseman had helped reshape the superhero genre and provided crucial representation as the first black superhero to headline a major franchise film. Oprah Winfrey spoke to the broader cultural significance of Boseman's work. "What a gentle, gifted soul, showing us all that greatness in between surgeries and chemo. The courage, the strength, the power it takes to do that. This is what dignity looks like." Her words highlighted the extraordinary personal strength Boseman demonstrated, keeping his diagnosis private while continuing to work and inspire others. The Black Panther salute crossing arms across the chest became a symbol of mourning and respect at tributes worldwide, including at Boseman's memorial service. This gesture, popularized by the film, transformed into a real-world symbol of respect and solidarity, demonstrating the profound cultural impact of Boseman's most famous role. Former President Barack Obama recalled meeting Boseman at the White House. "Chadwick came to the White House to work with kids when he was playing Jackie Robinson. You could tell right away that he was blessed. To be young, gifted, and black, to use that power to give them heroes to look up to do it all while in pain, what a use of his years." This tribute highlighted Boseman's commitment to using his platform for positive influence, particularly for young people of color. Number 9. Carrie Fisher, the princess who inspired generations. How many lives did Princess Leia save? Can a fictional character create real-world courage? Carrie Fisher's death in December 2016 after a heart attack was mourned not just by Star Wars fans, but by the many people who had found inspiration in her openness about mental health struggles and addiction. Her Star Wars co-star Mark Hamill, who played her on-screen twin Luke Skywalker, initially expressed his grief simply, "No words," devastated, later sharing more detailed tributes to their decades-long friendship. Harrison Ford, whose on-screen chemistry with Fisher as Han Solo and Princess Leia defined romantic tension for a generation, said, "Carrie was one of a kind, Brilliant, original, funny, and emotionally fearless, she lived her life bravely. His words touched on Fisher's renowned wit and courage, both on and off screen. J.J. Abrams, who directed Fisher in Star Wars: The Force Awakens, wrote, "She was brilliant and loving, tough and wise, passionate and irreverent. She lived her life the way she wanted to, never apologizing for any choices she made." This highlighted Fisher's unapologetic approach to life and her refusal to conform to Hollywood expectations. Beyond the Star Wars universe, many tributes focused on Fisher's mental health advocacy. Stephen Fry noted, "She took mental illness out of the shadows. Just for that, life was worth living." Fisher had been remarkably candid about her bipolar disorder and addiction issues at a time when such openness was rare among celebrities, helping countless people feel less alone in their struggles. The American Psychiatric Association honored Fisher with a posthumous Outstanding Achievement Award for her work in fighting stigma around mental illness. Her daughter Billie Lourd accepted the award, saying, "She spoke about her mental illness in a way that made people feel like they were not alone." Fisher's character Princess Leia continued to appear in the final Star Wars trilogy through careful use of unused footage, allowing fans to say goodbye to both the actress and the character who had inspired so many with her combination of vulnerability and strength. Number 8. Anthony Bourdain, the world traveler who connected cultures. Can food bridge divides between people? Did one chef change how we see the world? Anthony Bourdain's suicide in June 2018 left fans around the globe reeling, having lost not just a chef and television personality, but someone who had shown how food could be a gateway to understanding different cultures. Chef Gordon Ramsay expressed what many felt. He brought the world into our homes and inspired so many people to explore cultures and cities through their food. Former President Barack Obama, who had famously shared a meal of noodles and beer with Bourdain in Vietnam for an episode of Parts Unknown, tweeted, "He taught us about food, but more importantly, about its ability to bring us together, to make us a little less afraid of the unknown." This captured Bourdain's unique ability to use cuisine as a lens through which to examine larger cultural and political issues. Questlove described Bourdain's approach to cultural exploration. Anthony Bourdain didn't really do food shows, but shows about people and their stories that just happened to involve food. Through this, we got to see a larger world, got to understand that we are all basically the same, and got to see people dignified in their own culture, in their own world. Jose Andres, who worked with Bourdain on various projects, highlighted his friend's impact. "We had a giant that used a small little pen and a simple keyboard to open the world to all of us." This simple tribute captured how Bourdain's writing and television work had expanded horizons for millions of viewers, encouraging them to be more curious about the world beyond their own experiences. The Culinary Institute of America, Bourdain's alma mater, established a scholarship in his name, ensuring that future chefs would carry forward his legacy of culinary exploration and cultural connection. CNN, home to his show Parts Unknown, aired a special tribute with colleagues and friends sharing memories of Bourdain, revealing the deep personal connections he formed despite his frequently self-described loner tendencies. Number 7. Michael Jackson, a complicated legacy amid overwhelming grief. Can you separate the art from the artist? How do we remember complex figures? Michael Jackson's death in June 2009 from a propofol overdose created a global outpouring of grief that demonstrated his unparalleled cultural impact. His memorial service, broadcast worldwide, featured emotional tributes from family and fellow celebrities. Mariah Carey, performing "I'll Be There" with Trey Lawrence, could barely maintain her composure, showing how deeply Jackson's death affected even his superstar peers. Madonna reflected on Jackson's complicated existence. "I think the most heartbreaking thing about Michael Jackson was his search for friendship. In a world where there is so much treachery, Michael Jackson will never be forgotten for his great and timeless contributions to music, dance, and fashion." Her words acknowledged both his artistic genius and his personal struggles, creating a more nuanced tribute than many offered. Justin Timberlake, often considered influenced by Jackson's style and performance techniques, wrote, "We have lost a genius and a true ambassador of not only pop music but of all music. He has been an inspiration to multiple generations, and I will always cherish the moments I shared with him on stage and all of the things I learned about music from him. This highlighted Jackson's cross-genre influence that transcended any single style of music. Beyonce shared how Jackson shaped her own artistic development. "Michael Jackson changed me and helped me to become the artist I am. Thank you, Michael." For many performers who came after him, Jackson represented the pinnacle of entertainment, combining vocal ability, dancing prowess, and sheer star power in a way few have matched. Despite the controversies that surrounded Jackson in life and continue after his death, his artistic contributions remain undeniable. His album sales surged after his passing, with Thriller remaining the best-selling album of all time. The Cirque du Soleil show, Michael Jackson 1, continues to celebrate his artistic legacy, while conversations about the complexities of his life and the allegations against him ensure that discussions about separating art from artists remain relevant. Number 6. David Bowie, turning departure into art. Can death itself be a creative act? Did Bowie plan his farewell? David Bowie's death from liver cancer in January 2016, just 2 days after releasing his final album Black Star on his 69th birthday, stunned the music world. The timing and content of the album, which many interpreted as Bowie's deliberate farewell, added additional layers to the mourning process. Iggy Pop, Bowie's longtime friend and collaborator, said simply, "He resurrected me. He was more of a benefactor than a friend in a way. He went out of his way to make my life good." Kanye West acknowledged Bowie's influence across musical boundaries. "David Bowie was one of my most important inspirations, so fearless, so creative, he gave us magic for a lifetime." This sentiment was echoed across musical genres, with artists from metal to hip-hop citing Bowie's boundary pushing approach as formative to their own work. Madonna reflected on Bowie's cultural impact beyond music. "I never felt like I fit in growing up in Michigan, like an oddball or a freak. I went to see him in concert. I never felt more comfortable with myself than the moment I saw David Bowie." For many fans, Bowie's embrace of fluid identity and his celebration of being different provided validation during formative years. Former British Prime Minister David Cameron noted Bowie's significance to British culture. "Genius is an overused word, but I think musically, creatively, artistically, David Bowie was a genius." This official recognition highlighted how Bowie had transcended mere pop star status to become a national cultural figure whose influence extended far beyond music. The music video for Lazarus, featuring Bowie in a hospital bed with bandages over his eyes, took on new meaning after his death, with many interpreting lines like "Look up here, I'm in heaven" as Bowie's conscious goodbye to fans. This final artistic statement transformed mourning into appreciation for how Bowie maintained creative control over even his departure, turning his death into a component of his art in a way no other artist had managed. Number 5. Whitney Houston, the voice that silenced too soon. Can a perfect voice mask imperfect pain? Will we ever hear another voice like Whitney's? Whitney Houston's death in February 2012, found unconscious in a hotel bathtub, ended the life of a vocalist many considered the greatest of her generation. Her godmother Aretha Franklin expressed shock. "I just can't talk about it now, it's so stunning and unbelievable. I couldn't believe what I was reading coming across the TV screen." The inability to find adequate words characterized many initial reactions to Houston's death. Mariah Carey, whose early career paralleled Houston's and who later collaborated with her, shared her heartbreak. "She will never be forgotten as one of the greatest voices to ever grace the earth." This acknowledgement of Houston's singular vocal talent came from an artist often considered one of the few vocalists in Houston's league, giving it particular weight. Clive Davis, who discovered Houston and guided her career, went ahead with his pre-Grammy party the night of her death, turning it into an impromptu tribute. Simply put, Whitney would have wanted the music to go on, and her family asked that we carry on. This decision acknowledged Houston's dedication to music while providing a space for industry figures to begin processing their grief collectively. Jennifer Hudson performed a tribute to Houston at the Grammy Awards the day after her death, singing "I Will Always Love You" with visible emotion. This musical tribute, happening so quickly after the loss, created one of the most poignant Grammy moments ever, with Hudson shouldering the immense responsibility of honoring Houston's signature song during raw, immediate grief. Houston's funeral service at the New Hope Baptist Church in Newark, where she sang as a child, featured performances by Alicia Keys, Stevie Wonder, and R. Kelly, along with a moving eulogy from Kevin Costner, her co-star in The Bodyguard. Costner recalled Houston's insecurities despite her immense talent. The Whitney I knew, despite her success and worldwide fame, still wondered, am I good enough? Am I pretty enough? Will they like me? This glimpse into Houston's humanity amid her superstardom reminded mourners of the person behind the extraordinary voice. Number 4, Prince, The Purple Rain of Tears from Minneapolis to the World. How many instruments can one soul play? Can one artist truly do it all? Prince's sudden death from an accidental fentanyl overdose in April 2016 at his Paisley Park home and studio complex left a void in the music world that remains unfilled. Sheila E., Prince's longtime collaborator and former fiancée, shared her devastation. "My heart is broken. There are no words. I love you." This simple expression of grief reflected the numbness many felt at losing such a prolific creative force. Spike Lee hosted a block party in Brooklyn that turned into an impromptu Prince memorial, with hundreds of fans dressed in purple dancing to Prince's music. This spontaneous celebration reflected Prince's ability to bring people together through music and highlighted how his work had become part of the cultural fabric across diverse communities. Former President Barack Obama released a statement that captured Prince's cultural significance. Few artists have influenced the sound and trajectory of popular music more distinctly or touched quite so many people with their talent. This official recognition acknowledged Prince's impact beyond his commercial success, positioning him as an artist who had fundamentally changed music's landscape. Minneapolis, Prince's hometown, became the center of global mourning, with thousands gathering outside his Paisley Park complex and the First Avenue Club made famous in Purple Rain. The city's landmarks, including the I-35W bridge, were lit in purple, demonstrating how thoroughly Prince had become identified with the city and how deeply his loss was felt there. Musicians across genres cited Prince's influence, with Bruce Springsteen performing Purple Rain at his concert the night of Prince's death and calling him one of the greatest performers I've ever seen. This cross-genre respect highlighted Prince's universal musical appeal and technical mastery that transcended stylistic boundaries. The Minnesota Twins baseball team permanently installed a special seat at Target Field colored purple and marked with Prince's symbol in honor of the Minneapolis native, ensuring a physical reminder of his legacy in his hometown. Prince's music streams increased over 6,000% in the days following his death, introducing his vast catalog to younger listeners and reminding lapsed fans of his extraordinary body of work. Number 3, Freddie Mercury, a voice that still rattles the heavens. Is it possible to be both bombastic and vulnerable? Can one frontman change rock forever? Freddie Mercury's death from AIDS-related pneumonia in November 1991 came just one day after he publicly confirmed his HIV status, ending his intensely private struggle with the disease. His Queen bandmate Brian May later revealed the depth of their loss. "Freddie was our best friend and a surrogate brother to us, and losing him was like losing a family member." This simple statement humanized the flamboyant performer, reminding fans of the personal relationships behind the legendary band. Elton John, a close friend of Mercury's, performed Bohemian Rhapsody at the Freddie Mercury tribute concert in 1992, his voice breaking with emotion during the performance. This musical tribute from one rock legend to another demonstrated the esteem in which Mercury was held by his peers and created one of the most moving moments in rock history. David Bowie, who collaborated with Queen on Under Pressure, reflected on Mercury's unique presence. Of all the more theatrical rock performers, Freddie took it further than the rest. He took it over the edge. And of course, I always admired a man who wears tights. This tribute captured both Mercury's theatrical performance style and the sense of humor and camaraderie between rock's greatest showmen. The remaining members of Queen established the Mercury Phoenix Trust in his memory, which has since raised over $17 million for AIDS-related causes worldwide. This concrete action transformed grief into positive impact, reflecting Mercury's own desire to help others even after his death. His mother, Jur Balsara, said, "Freddie changed people's minds about AIDS because of who he was. He made them realize that a person who had AIDS was just a normal human being." The 2018 film Bohemian Rhapsody, despite historical inaccuracies, introduced Mercury to a new generation and sparked renewed interest in Queen's music. Rami Malek, who won an Academy Award for his portrayal of Mercury, said in his acceptance speech, "We made a film about a gay man, an immigrant who lived his life just unapologetically himself." This highlighted the aspects of Mercury's identity that made his success all the more remarkable in the less accepting era in which he rose to fame. Number 2. Chester Bennington, a voice for pain now silent. Can music about darkness bring light? What happens when the person who helped so many can't help themselves? Chester Bennington's suicide in July 2017 devastated fans of Linkin Park, many of whom had found solace in Bennington's raw lyrics about depression, addiction, and emotional pain. His bandmate Mike Shinoda initially confirmed the news on Twitter with 3 heartbreaking words: shocked and heartbroken. He later shared more detailed reflections, writing, "You touched so many lives, maybe even more than you realized." Bennington's death came on what would have been the 53rd birthday of his close friend Chris Cornell, the Soundgarden frontman who had died by suicide just 2 months earlier. This timing added an additional layer of tragedy, with Bennington having performed Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah at Cornell's funeral. Cornell's wife Vicky tweeted to Bennington's widow Talinda, "Just know that you were a true friend to Chris. He loved you so much. Your loving friendship meant the world to us." One of the most poignant tributes came from 30 Seconds to Mars frontman Jared Leto, who posted a photo of Bennington with the message, "When I think of Chester, I remember his smile, his laughter, intelligence, kindness, and talent, the absolutely unforgettable voice that was at once delicate, ferocious, and always full of emotion." This reflection on Bennington's contradictions, the gentle person who could produce such intense vocals, captured what made him special to fans and friends alike. The band created a suicide prevention website following Bennington's death, channeling grief into action that might help others struggling with similar issues. Linkin Park also hosted a memorial concert, featuring performances by Blink-182, System of a Down, and other artists, with proceeds going to Music for Relief's One More Light Fund, established in Bennington's memory. Fans shared how Bennington's music had helped them through their own mental health struggles, creating a bitter irony that someone who had provided support to so many through his art couldn't find enough support for himself. Producer Steve Aoki, who had collaborated with Linkin Park, expressed this paradox. "The saddest part is to lose someone who has fought depression so hard for so long, who inspired so many to fight on, to lose that battle himself." Number 1. Selena, the Tejano star whose light still shines. Can an artist's influence grow after death? How does a community keep a legacy alive? Selena Quintanilla Perez's murder by her fan club president in March 1995 cut short the life of the 23-year-old Tejano music star just as she was preparing to cross over to the English-language market. Her death created unprecedented grief in the Latino community, with tens of thousands of fans attending her viewing in Corpus Christi, Texas. Gloria Estefan, who had been mentoring Selena for her English-language debut, said, "I felt such a sense of loss, it almost seemed like a family member had been lost." Jennifer Lopez, whose portrayal of Selena in the 1997 biopic launched her own career as a leading Latina in entertainment, reflected on Selena's cultural impact. "She was a light. She had this incredible energy and this incredible presence wherever she went, and she was just this amazing spirit." This tribute highlighted Selena's charisma that extended beyond her musical talent, creating a connection with fans that endures decades after her death. Selena's family, particularly her father Abraham and sister Suzette, have been central to preserving her legacy through various projects, including the Selena Museum in Corpus Christi, and continuing to release her music posthumously. Her husband Chris Perez published the book To Selena with Love in 2012, providing an intimate glimpse of their relationship and sharing aspects of Selena's personality that fans hadn't previously seen. The cultural impact of Selena's legacy continues to grow, with MAC Cosmetics releasing a Selena collection in 2016 that sold out immediately, Netflix producing a series based on her life, and her induction into various music halls of fame. Each new tribute introduces Selena to younger generations who weren't alive during her career, ensuring her influence extends far beyond her short life. Perhaps most significantly, Selena's breakthrough success opened doors for other Latino artists in mainstream American music. As Bad Bunny noted in a 2020 tribute, Selena's career has a meaning in music history, and thanks to her, today, the doors are open to new talent and there is more acceptance. This recognition of her role as a pioneer who made space for others may be her most enduring legacy. Would these celebrities ever know how much they meant to us? Does our grief for people we never met reveal something essential about human connection in the modern world?